Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I am going to be doing the second look for my series of looks with one palette so you can get the most for your money, so you can get lots of different looks with just one palette. So first off, I want to start off the video by reintroducing the palette. This is the Tartelette In Bloom palette. It's beautiful. It has a mixture of cool and warm tone neutrals. And I'm going to go ahead and give you some swatches of the palette to start with. So the first color in the palette here is called Charmer. And it is just a matte white. And then next I have Jet Setter, which is more of a cool tone brown, matte also. Next I have the color Rocker, which is more of a shimmer, almost kind of a, it actually looks a little bit more warm tone in this green right now, but it looks a little bit more cool toned in the palette. You can see this guy right here. So next in the lineup is the color Smoke Show, which is a true matte black. It's a true matte black that has a little bit more of a gray undertone. Next we have Flower Child, which is kind of a matte vanilla kind of ivory color, I would say. You can barely even see. Matches my skin tone almost perfectly. Kind of see it right there. Next in the line is one of my personal favorites. It's called Smarty Pants, and this is more of a warm tone matte brown. It's kind of a medium depth. This is a great color for your transition shade. I love this color. I use it a lot. Then this color is one of my top favorites in the palette. It's called Firecracker. And it is this shimmery, glittery copper color. I didn't think it was gonna work well for my skin tone, but it is just so pretty, and it just brings this beautiful warmth and brightness to your eyes. Next is the color called Activist, and this is a little bit more of a warm undertone black. It just doesn't have that kind of grayness that this one has. It's just slightly warmer than this black. And this, again, this is another one of my favorites. This is called Funny Girl, and it's like a true gold shimmer glitter color. You can barely even see it, but on deeper skin tones, it'll pop even more, and you'll see how pretty and flattering it is on everyone. And this color here is called Sweetheart, and it's another matte brown, but it has more of a pink undertone to it. I'm running out of arm space here. This one is also one I use fairly frequently. It's called Rebel, and it's more of a reddish orange, deeper brown. And it's also a matte. And so last but not least is the color called Leader. And this is just a beautiful warm tone brown. So these are the swatches for the Tartelette In Bloom palette. I love it. I didn't think I was going to get quite as much use out of it as I do, just because I was a little bit more afraid of the warm colors. I was always more of a cool toned palette girl. But I am just loving these. So here are the swatches up close. I'm not a master at the swatches yet, so you'll have to forgive me. So let's go ahead and get started on the eye look. I'm going to zoom you all in so you can see a little bit more up close. Sorry, I'm just wiping off my fingers. And we will get started. So this look today is going to be a little bit more of a glamorous look than the last look, which was more of an easy, quick, everyday. So this one's going to be a little bit more pumped up, but still fairly light, not really loud, not really crazy. But it's going to have more of some golds and some copper in it, and just a little bit more of deep tones in it as well. So first off, I'm going to take the shade Smarty Pants, and I'm going to go in with my smudger brush first and actually do the lower lash line first. So I'm going to go ahead and go right in and just smudge out the lower lash line. Make sure you're always tapping off the excess powder from your brush. That will prevent fallout from happening underneath your eyes. And when I'm doing my lower lash line, I like to drag it up a little bit. And that just ensures that my lower lash line is gonna blend right into the eyeshadow that I put on the top lid. So it just gives it a nice blown out effect, and there are no lines, and there's no, this is where one starts, this is where another color ends. It's just nice and cohesive and pretty. So then next I'm gonna go into Rebel, which again is just a little bit darker of a shade, and I'm gonna take that more on the outer third of the lash line. I'm not gonna go like the 2/3 in that I did with Smarty Pants. So I'm just touching up those outer corners a little bit, just blending them out so they're not quite as line. Okay, that's better. So that's it for the lower lash line for now. So I'm gonna go into Smarty Pants with my Scott Barnes 6'2" eye blender brush. And again, Scott Barnes is a cruelty-free brand. This brush is amazing. It's nice and soft, great to blend with, and you can get this brush exclusively on scottbarnes.com. So I'm just gonna blend this into my crease, and I'm taking it up fairly close to the brow bone here. And I'm not really getting a lot of color here, just because I like for my eyes to stay nice and bright, even if I'm doing a little bit darker of a look. And I just think it works with my eye shape a little bit better to leave this area fairly blank. So I also took the color Smarty Pants, the same color, and I kind of drug it down onto the lid just a little bit, just on the outer corners, just to kind of blend from the crease down into the lid space. Okay, so next I'm going to take the color Rebel. Same brush. I'm just gonna go on the outside of my eyelid, probably like the outer third. And then I'm gonna start to go in my V shape here. So up from the lash line and into the crease. And when I'm doing this first initial laydown of color, I'm taking the brush and pulling this way so that I'm not dragging that color too far outside of the lines of your eyes here. So take the color and drag it towards the inner part of your eyelid, because you can always brighten this area up, but it's hard to clean up those edges. So take that in like that first, and then go in your V shape after you've kind of gotten the color laid down. Then you can blend it and make that V shape and make it, your ends, the edges of your eyes a little bit more defined. Okay, so the next color I am swapping out my brush into a little bit more of a defined crease brush. This is the utility from Pure Minerals, but again, you can get a brush like this from Sonia Kashuk. Real Techniques probably has something good like this, or even e.l.f. has some great brushes out too. So I'm going to go into Leader, which is again like this kind of red undertone brown, which is really pretty. And so this you're going to want to be fairly precise since it is a darker color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush and I'm actually going to drag down the color. So go ahead and get it right on the edge of your lid and just drag that color down with just little downward motions, because I don't want a lot of this color up here. I want it focused on the outer corner of my eye, and I don't want this to be a super dark smoky look. And then once you have that color laid down again, go ahead and do that V shape. Again, diagonal from the lash line, and then up into the crease. Okay, so now we have those colors all blended out. Now here comes my favorite part. So I'm going to go and take my ring finger, and I'm going to go into Firecracker, which is again this beautiful kind of bronzy color. And what I'm going to do is go towards the center of my lid here. I'm not going to take it too far to the inside corner or the outside edge. I want to kind of focus it right in this area. So you're going to start in the middle, and I just use tapping motions and blend it into those darker colors that you just laid down, but not going over into the color so that you don't mess up that definition that you just did. Make sure you go all the way up into the crease area. See, isn't this color just so pretty? I love it. It just brightens up the look so much. Same thing on the other side. Tap in the middle of the lid. Make sure you go all the way up into the crease and blend into just the outer edge of that darkness, but not over here. Okay, so next I'm going to go into Funny Girl, which is this really pretty golden color. And now I'm going to go on the inside part of the lid here and blend it into Firecracker. So I'm just going to focus right on that inside corner of the eye, giving kind of a gradient of shimmer on your lid. So it stays nice and bright and open here, and then goes into the deeper color. And I just think it looks really flattering and really pretty on everyone. So now I'm going to take more of the Funny Girl color and go right into the inner corner. I always like a nice bright inner corner, and right into the bottom third of the lower lash line where we didn't put any of these darker colors, and just kind of blend it in. You know what? I've never done this before, so here we go. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna put a little Firecracker right in the middle. Oh yeah, I like that. Who would have thought I like more shimmer? Yeah, that's really pretty. And it kind of ties the top lid to the bottom lid as well. So now I'm going to take whatever is left on my finger of the Funny Girl color and just lightly tap it underneath the brow bone, well, underneath the brow, on the brow bone, same thing. And just lightly tap instead of swiping, because if you tap, you'll get a little bit lighter of a lay down of color and not just kind of a stripe of color. So if you just lightly tap, you'll just be placing that pigment down lightly, so you get more of a, just a shimmer instead of like a whoosh, if that makes sense. So we are almost done. Now I'm gonna go into Activist, which is more of the warm tone, deep brown, almost black color. And I'm just going to take my eyeliner brush from the ball and tap it into the pigment, and then make sure you tap off the edge, especially since I'm not using any kind of setting spray or water to make this any kind of liquid or gel form. It's still a true powder, so you're going to want to be careful with that. And then just gently run it along the lash line. And you can skip this part if you don't want to do liner, but with this look I think it just kind of pulls it together nicely. I'm just going from kind of on the outside edge from where my lashes start, and only going about 2/3 of the way in, and I'm not putting liner on this section of my lash line because I don't want it to be a really smoky look. I want it to still be a little bit more amped up, but not really dark, and I feel like doing that makes my eyes look a little bit more bright and open, like I mentioned before. Another tip when you're putting a powder, a dark powder, on your lash line is just kind of press it in and don't swipe and go back and forth, because then you'll get that pigment all over underneath your eyes and it'll have some major fallout. So just kind of press it against the lash line, and again, make sure you're not adding tons and tons of powder. To your brush. As I said that, see, I've got some fallout right there. So what I'm gonna do, don't use your fingers for this. Take the biggest, fluffiest brush that you have and just press and just lightly sweep it away, and pray to God that you don't get marks on your face. Just gently, very lightly, very little pressure when you're doing it, just because you want to just pick up that pigment with the brush and whisk it away without smearing it on your face, so that you're not getting that pigment underneath your eyes. I think that worked. Good deal. And if you get a little bit of the dark color in your waterline, just take a clean Q-tip and run it under there, because I like a nice bright waterline. I don't like the dark waterline. I think it makes your eyes look smaller. But that's just my personal preference. If you like that, you do you. But I personally like it open, so I'm just gonna wipe it off. And that makes it just clean and bright again. All right, so to top off this look, I'm just gonna add a little bit more mascara. And I always put a little bit more mascara towards the outer edge of my lower lash line, and then just a little bit towards the front. Again, that just kind of elongates the eye and brings that depth of color to the edge of your eye instead of towards the inside. Okay, so the very last step is I go in with my Scott Barnes blending brush, and I go in with just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of Smarty Pants again, which was that first transition shade that we used. and just blend out those edges. Make sure you're not hitting your lashes that are probably still wet. And make sure everything is nice and blended, no lines, no creases. So that completes the second look in the series for my Tartelette In Bloom palette. I'm going to zoom you back out so you can see everything all together. Alright, so you can see that this is a little bit more of a glamorous eye, I would say. This look is a little bit more pumped up from the last look, but it still was super easy and quick to do. And once you get the hang of it, it'll take you like 5 minutes. So this look I love personally just because it has that extra shimmer from the kind of copper and gold colors in this palette. It's a beautiful palette if you think that you would like these colors. They're really so universally flattering. Everyone will look fantastic with this palette. I didn't think at the beginning, like I mentioned, that I was going to be able to get a whole lot of use out of some of these colors because they are more on the warm side, but I'm growing to really love them and realize that maybe I should have been using more warm color in the past. But I love this palette. I'm going to do a couple more looks using this palette just to show you the true versatility of it. But I hope you enjoyed this look. I personally love it. It's one of my go-tos when I just want a little bit more oomph with my eye look and some more shimmer. But thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what videos you would like to see in the future. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also ring the bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a brand new video. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.